Hello, my name is Jeremy, just your average everyday guy. That is until sometime in my early 30s, I developed a spinal condition known as ankylosing spondylitis. It took me from this, 6 foot tall, to this, not 6 foot tall. But I wasn't going to let that get me down forever, so eventually I kicked some bad habits and started fighting back. I still get some pretty strange looks, but I'm now doing what I love, traveling and adventuring. My goal is to show other people with disabilities or anyone facing challenges that your best days don't have to be behind you and that there's always hope. So thanks for joining me, the Handicapped Hiker.
Welcome in, everyone. Last time around, I got the passenger side wall panel mounted, some of the upper cabinets installed, and finally got to see the electrical system come to life.
My lights are working.
Let's keep it going and see how far we can get this week.
Alright guys, so I put 8 gallons of water in the freshwater tanks. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the ports that I sealed up with epoxy over the next several hours, and overnight I'm going to keep checking these to make sure nothing is seeping out slowly that's going to cause a problem down the road. Literally, I went ahead and shut off these 2 sink valves so water won't come out of these, and I put paper towels down under all my plumbing connections because I'm about to fire it up and see if we have any leaks. We are good to go here. I'm gonna keep it from going into the water heater for now. I just want to test the cold water line first. So everything looks good. Let's go ahead and kick the pump on and try a faucet. Oh, I'm nervous. Water pump is on. Not seeing any water yet. I hope it's not because of that check valve. There is no water whatsoever coming through. Okay, something's not right. Luckily, I'm only seeing one tiny little leak where this flexible rubber hose comes out of the water pump. It's just barely dripping out of here. And that's after a half hour of running. The problem I have is that I don't have any water pressure. It's barely trickling out of the faucet, and I'm not sure why. I've adjusted the pressure switch on the pump, and it ran for a few minutes, pressured up, but it is not pushing any pressure out of the faucet. So I'm just going to leave that problem for another day or later today, and I'm going to move on to getting my wall panel and the sink countertop and sink in, and maybe some more cabinets today. We'll see. complain too much about that. Dude. It's looking good. Now I've got the next cabinet drilled out with the locking hardware in it. And I have got this cabinet heavily modified, cut out in the corner. That is to go around this bump out here. I've got this shower wall panel up, even though I don't know if my shower head leaks or not. But we're gonna go ahead and try to get this thing mounted today, and then get a mirror on this door since it goes over my sink. I'm just so excited that my fridge is working finally. I've already had a root beer while working today. Alright, here we go. So like I've mentioned a million times, in a van, nothing is straight. All the walls, the ceiling, everything is curved. So everything is built in reference to your floor, because that is the only thing that you know is flat, 100%. Whether you're parked level, or on a hill, or the slightest slope that you can barely tell. So everything's got to be square to the floor, level to the floor. I say level to the floor, I mean perpendicular and horizontal to the floor. There's no such thing as level in a van. So I know that my cabinets and my countertop are flat with the floor. So that's going to be my reference point for the cabinet now. I need to make sure that the bottom of the cabinet is the same distance from the countertop all the way across. And that's how I'm going to line it up. I can't believe that's almost perfectly straight. Almost a 1/16 of an inch difference from this side to this side. So we'll just push it up while we're tightening down on this bolt. Right there. Okay. Nice. All right, we are running out of daylight again, folks. But here is the sink cabinet with a mirror. Down below, nice stainless sink. Butcher block countertop. Nice faucet. I don't have the pull down thing yet, but this is probably going to have to come out anyways, because I still need to finish this back part here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. We got a lot done today. I think I'm going to call it a day early. get on Amazon and order some supplies for the trip before it gets too late to have them shipped here. And I'm going to spend the rest of the evening making dinner and doing trip planning. Alright, we've got 11 days to go. So this morning I've spent quite a bit of time measuring and marking up the pieces for the sink drawer. That one's going to be heavily modified. It's going to slide in around the sink. So it's quite a bit of work to do that, but to gain that little bit of space I'm going to get is worth it to me. Alright, well, change of plans. I spent all that time marking out these boards, where to cut everything, and then I realized that there are brackets that hold the sink to the underside of the countertop, and those brackets would interfere with this drawer. So once I made adjustments for those brackets, it wasn't worth making the drawer anymore. You're talking about a 3-inch wide drawer that would take 2 hours of modifications. So that is just going to be a false drawer front now, but I am going to raise it off of the cabinet faceplate so it looks like a real cabinet. I want it to blend in with the other cabinet doors and drawers and not look like it's just glued to the cabinet face. So I'm going to put a push button latch in here that's going to be just for looks only. And then we're going to screw this drawer face from behind the cabinet through the cabinet face frame into this. So you won't see anything on the front, but it'll be screwed into place, and it'll have those little rubber feet on here to space it about 1/8 of an inch away from the cabinet frame, just like all the other cabinet doors and drawer fronts. That was a lot of time wasted today, but at least I didn't waste more time cutting all this stuff and then find out that it wasn't going to work. Yeah, it's a bummer that it was a lot of wasted time, but we're just gonna take the punch and keep moving. And get this put in. We're gonna get the countertop mounted down, and then we're gonna get the sink in place and work on our wall panel behind the sink. You know, folks, this was a fun project, but stressful, and I'm happy it's coming to an end here soon. But these last few days, it's been like my head's falling off. I can't keep anything straight. So it'll be good to wrap this up. Alright, that is secured. We got something done today. And the funny thing is, the latch works for no reason whatsoever. Pull that out. We got our nice little space. Nice even little space here. Very good, very good. Alright, now the butcher block countertop. Now we'll be attaching this countertop with the same L brackets and a combination of 5/8 and 3/4 inch number 6 screws. Alright, well, after some very awkward twisting and turning underneath this cabinet and through the sinkhole, I was able to get brackets in all four corners, holding this countertop down. Looks pretty good. I still need to get the door latch on this cabinet door. I'm holding off on those latches for now. I don't want to waste my good daylight and my good energy on that. I think what I want to do next is start figuring out what I'm going to do to cover this back wall here. I'm thinking I might go with vinyl. There's an awful lot of this tan colored burlap in here, and we are going to have some exposed gray paint from the factory paint finish. So maybe this will be a good spot behind the sink to use some of that vinyl. It is waterproof, so that's probably the best place to use it. A good application. I thought that this thin 3/16 inch plywood would be flexible enough to match the curve of the van, but as it turns out, I had to score it several times. About half of the thickness of the wood, just to get it to give me some little bit of flexibility. It takes forever to get the wrinkles out of this stuff. .607, folks. It's almost time to go in and watch my latest episode, and maybe we'll come back out and do some more work. But let's go put this in place, see how it looks. Here I put a board behind the cabinet, a filler board with a back piece on it, and then I put a piece of blocking down here, so I have a face to attach the wall panel to. But let's hope this fits. It's a little tight. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of Velcro behind here should hold it. I don't know if I want to put a sheet metal screw through here or not. When it's curved in, it'll look like that. Something different. I didn't want to make everything brown tweed. Most of the van is this brown tweed. It needed something to break it up. So that actually looks pretty good. That'll handle the water pretty well from any splashing. Barely fit. Barely fit. You know what though? I want to clean some of the sawdust off of this countertop first. I don't want that getting trapped in there. Alright, very good. Now let's get it clamped down. Alright guys, 10 days left. Wow. Let's get to work. these suckers attached and get this cabinet hung up and feel like we did something today other than just drive to Home Depot and eat a fudge round. Give it a little countersink so it doesn't split these shims apart. These are your standard household door and window shims that you buy at the hardware store. Glued and taped, 4 of them together to make one big wedge. The metal wall in the van are angled inward like this. So if I were to just mount these cabinets to those walls, they would be aimed downward. And what I'm doing is gluing and screwing these to the back of the cabinets. So when I go to put the cabinets up on the wall, they will sit perpendicular to the floor. But as you can see, none of these are right. They're all goofy. I mean, look at this. I don't know. It's enough complaining. Let's get this done. I hear enough of people complaining throughout the week. I don't need to be one of them. I don't need to be one of them. Alright, well, we got our shims mounted on here. We should probably go ahead and put the door hardware in now. It'd be a lot easier to do it on the ground. I don't know if I'm going to be able to lift the cabinet up this high, to be honest. Please don't hurt myself. Please don't hurt myself. Oh, God. Okay. That's not a good way to... Oh. Fishing the electrical wires through. Oh, golly. Yeah, I was afraid of that. I was afraid of that. Perfect position, but I don't think these bolts are long enough. How many times do I have to lift this cabinet up? This is going to be the 3rd time, I believe. Maybe the 4th. Okay, we got some longer bolts. Get the washer. Alright, come on. I hope this is it. Come on, baby. Okay, that's one bolt. Now we gotta try to get this other one in. Oh boy. Come on, baby. There we go, there we go, there we go. I don't know what's going on, but they're not lining up. gonna take some more shims, I know that. It looks straight, but it's not straight. Well, folks, it took some manhandling, but I finally got that thing up there and got it nice and lined up with the sink cabinet. Looks very good. It's all shimmed up, bolted down, and these two cabinets are very, very solid. I'm very pleased with these. They don't look that great on the inside the way I have them mounted, but that can be covered up with a decorative panel at a later date. But as far as functionality goes, these two cabinets are great. Very solid, very straight. I still have to wire this light switch and wrap an end panel with this burlap stuff. And I'm going to make that end panel go all the way back to the wall panel, of course. Not just square like the cabinet, but I'm going to contour it to the side of the van to give it a little nicer look from the back. Eventually, not before my trip, but when I get back, I might make some nice decorative panels to go under the cabinets to hide all this bare, unfinished wood and these brackets. As far as these cabinets over here go, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these yet. They are sagging a little bit now since they've been up a few days. I don't have a lot of confidence in them going down the road very well. To 24 3/4. Right there's where we want it. This is the cabinet bottom, and this is where the shims are to push the cabinet out straight up and down. Now I can add to these shims to push it out further, which is what I'm doing now. And then of course over here These ones have already been added to, but there's a much bigger gap on this side over here. And that is because when I mounted these two cabinets, I put the shims too high on the cabinet back, and that forced the cabinets out away from the wall a little bit more than I would have liked. I can take them down and redo them, or I can just live with them for now, at least for this trip. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. It's going on 5:30. I've got a couple other projects I want to get done, so I think I'm just going to make sure I get this last cabinet mounted really solid, and then I'll think about it. Alright folks, so blasting right along, I threw the mattress in here to get an idea of what it's going to look like. I also put another wall panel on to cover up these type of ugly holes. I will be doing the same back here, but back here I'll probably be using the burlap just for a softer feel near the bed. Now I got the sink mounted, got my wall panel behind the sink, got the faucet in. It is hooked up, but we still have a water pressure issue, and I don't have the drain cut through the floor yet. Okay, so I started working on the shower trim. I took a 1x3, wrapped it in the gray vinyl, and put it on top of this wall. Now, yes, there is a gap here. I'm going to cover this up. And all this little imperfect stuff here is going to be covered with trim. And what I'm doing now is I started with the corners here, and I'm really happy with the way this is going so far. This is, it's sticky in the middle, and these two little flaps on the sides are flexible, like so. So when you put it in the corner, these come out on your two side walls, like so. And it's going in very easily. It's sticking very tight. I like it. I think it's going to work. "9 days left. Today I am taking the van out on its maiden voyage, at least since I got all of the stuff built in the back. I have driven the van before, obviously home from the dealership, but this is the first time I've driven it since I built all the cabinets and walls and all that good stuff in the back. So I know I still need to get some locks on some of the cabinet doors, so this will be interesting. Some of them might be flying open going down the road. I'm obviously going to try to take it easy, but I'm listening for any breakage or anything like that. So let's see what we're getting into. Well, I guess it hasn't moved in probably well over a month, maybe 2. So the brakes are maybe a little stuck, starting to rust together. I don't know. Let's just get her on the road and see what we got. Around one turn I took, I did hear the cabinet doors open. So I'm just gonna have to be very, very careful. I had no choice. I need to drive the van today to go see some old co-workers and to meet with my old boss. But I'll just have to be really careful because I don't think she's road ready just quite yet. Alright, so I've had it on a 55-mile-an-hour road now for several miles. It's actually handling pretty well. I've noticed the ride has gotten a lot quieter, most likely due to all the insulation we put in and just all the sheet metal being covered up now and that sound deadening material we put on. But it's a much quieter ride, and it's handling very well. Obviously, I need to remember to coast into my stops a little more and rely on the brakes less. So far, so good. I'm impressed. Alright, well, as you can see, I already started pulling hoses off of this. Here's my new pump. It is all one piece with an accumulator tank mounted on a board. So I thought this would be a better connection than me trying to pump up to the accumulator. So I'm just gonna get all this crap off of here and figure out how I can rework this onto here, which means I'm gonna have to lose a lot of my PEX stuff. I don't know yet. I'm just figuring it out as I go. I'm gonna go ahead and put some zip ties in here. Then we'll go put the fuse in, kick the switch on, and see what happens. Okay, so the fuse is in. Everything's wired up. Let's kick it on and see what happens. Okay, the pump is pushing water. Oh, nothing. Barely a trickle. This doesn't make any sense. This should be working. This should absolutely be working. It says it can draw water from 6 feet. It should be able to suck this water in. Something's not right here. Alright, well, I think the water pressure is working now, finally. The sink is now running, and the faucet is running. What I've realized is you can't crank the handle all the way over because I don't have any hot water hooked up yet. So when you crank the handle all the way over, it's trying to draw hot and cold water, and it's sucking a lot of air in with the cold water. So if you just turn the handle part way like so, well, there we go. It's a lot better. And then the sink, of course, I'm doing this like an idiot. You gotta bend back like this. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Alright, now we just got to get these drains hooked up. But first I'm going to get my door latches on because this is the most important thing. I'm not going to drive around the country with these doors swinging open constantly. Okay, so I got all of these latches in. Now what I'm doing is in the front of the passenger side bench seat, I've cut about a 3.5 inch by 2 inch hole because all RVs are supposed to have a propane gas detector and a carbon monoxide detector. And this is something that a lot of do-it-yourself van builders overlook, but this actually is law. If you have an RV, you have to have one of these. If you don't know where it's at, it's somewhere in your RV, I guarantee it. Probably close to your propane tank. or an appliance that uses your propane. So this is an afterthought. I didn't know I needed this until just a few days ago. And this is fairly close to my stove. And this would be the easiest spot to mount this thing. So just pops right in like so. I'll go ahead and get it screwed in place and run a couple of wires back to the DC distribution panel and throw a 5 amp fuse in. Now, it came with this handy dandy little clip here, so I don't have to crimp any wires. Now, I mentioned before about getting the big box of screws at the hardware store, because if you don't, you're going to make several trips back to buy several small boxes. The same goes with your wire. I have had to buy this 50-foot roll of wire 3 times now, when I could have saved 50% of the cost and just got one big huge 200-foot roll. So take my advice, buy the big box of screws, buy the big roll of wire. And then once I get those pulled through, I'm going to come back in here and tie this wire down so it's not in the way and it doesn't get caught on anything I have stored in here. Everything I googled said a 1 or 2 amp fuse should be fine, so I'm going to put a 3 amp fuse in. We've got power over here, I think. Now I'm working on getting this shower curtain fit. I am pretty darn happy with that. This is a little bit tough working over my head. Like I've mentioned 100 times before, I get it. But it is. So now we've got a bunch of these rollers that clip onto the rail and little hooks for the curtain itself. Get on there. There you go. Wow. This is a pretty cool system. I like this. Alright, well there is the shower curtain, folks. And if you would have told me this morning that before 4 o'clock I would have the plumbing system up and running, all of these cabinet door latches installed, and the shower curtain installed, I would have been pretty happy with that for the day. But I think I'm going to take a short break, get something to eat, get something to drink, and then I'm going to look at the wastewater tank under the van to see if that is something I can get installed without killing myself too much. But that's my shower curtain. Looks good. I like it. Would have been better if that track was white, but I didn't think of that. I ordered the black one a long, long time ago when I first started this project.
On next week's episode, we'll put some last-minute finishing touches on the van, get everything packed in, and finally hit the road. I'll go over the finish timeline and all of the final costs. So be sure to tune in for the next episode, and we'll see you then.